As the ranking member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Ratner, over the last several months, the PLA has increasingly intercepted American ships and aircraft in the South China Sea. These waters account for 1/3 of global maritime trade. Let's take a look at a map of the PRC's sovereignty claims, which are called the 9-dash line. Oh, wait, no, not that one. Can we get the other one, guys? Okay.
The best
That's
chart
better.
in Congress.
This is the South China Sea, and this is the 9-dash line, which lays claim to almost the entirety of the South China Sea. Now, Dr. Ratner, neighboring countries completely reject the PRC's sovereignty claims over the entire South China Sea, correct?
That's correct. Not only the countries on the periphery, but the United Nations Arbitral Tribunal has also ruled that the PRC's claims are illegal under international law.
And not only that, but the PRC called this ruling that you referred to, quote unquote, null and void, right?
That's correct.
Let's see the impact of the PRC's view of international law. In December 2022, a Chinese fighter jet flew within 20 feet of a U.S. plane above the South China Sea. And then here in June, just last month, a Chinese warship cut off a U.S. destroyer at a length of 150 yards. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
It appears to me that the CCP believes that these dangerous maneuvers will somehow deter us from exercising our freedom of navigation. But isn't it fair to say that their dangerous actions will have no such impact?
Absolutely, Congressman. We have said again and again, publicly and privately to the PRC, that their actions will not deter us and that we will continue to operate, fly, sail, and operate wherever international law allows.
Thank you. Let me turn to another topic that comes up all the time with my constituents, which is cyber hacking. I think all of us in this room have been hacked to some degree. This is something that we can all understand. In fact, I just learned last week that one of my own staff here on the Select Committee had his own LinkedIn account hacked. This is my staff member. His name is Jack. Meet Jack. Jack was proud to join this committee, so he went to update his LinkedIn profile, and this is what he found. This is not Jack. Now his name is Bai Lulu, and he is a proud graduate of Xi'an Jiaotong University. This is an example of what happens to Americans every single day, and apparently it happened to administration officials just recently. Now, Ms. Kendler, last Tuesday, the Commerce Department confirmed that Secretary Raimondo's government email had been infiltrated by Chinese hackers, correct?
Microsoft did notify the department of a compromise to its Office 365 system, and we took immediate action to respond. And we're monitoring our systems. I'm not in a position to characterize the Secretary's email.
Well, published reports say that. And Mr. Kritenbrink, we learned that the State Department was also targeted. Can you rule out whether you or your staff's emails were hacked as well?
As Tay indicated, I can't comment on an investigation that's underway being conducted by the FBI, but no, I will not rule it out.
You can't rule it out. Look, it turns out that Chinese law requires that any software companies doing business in the PRC are required to share their source code as well as vulnerabilities in their source code with the CCP. What I'm concerned about is that these software companies then turn around and might sell those same pieces of software to Americans, including the United States government. So I would demand that you please go back to the administration and talk about how we can prevent compromises of our United States government accounts based on Chinese law and compliance with Chinese law by American companies. Now, Mr. Kritenbrink, let me turn to the last topic I wanted to bring up. Last month, Secretary Blinken said that, quote, the understanding that any differences regarding Taiwan will be resolved peacefully is foundational to how we understand our relationship with the PRC. China's foreign ministry shockingly did not agree with this statement, and they said, quote, this distorted America's political promise to them. Now, Mr. Kritenbrink, when the U.S. established diplomatic relations with the PRC starting in the 1970s, each of our communiques clearly laid out and reaffirmed our, quote, interest in a peaceful settlement of the Taiwan question. Isn't that right?
Mr. Ranking Member, it's absolutely correct that from the very beginning, our policy and our approach has been predicated on the maintenance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and peaceful resolution.
Blinken's statement did not distort any promise that we ever made to the PRC.
Of course not.
In effect, the PRC is gaslighting us by trying to redefine the reality of our commitment to a peaceful resolution of the Taiwan question, right?
I'm not going to speak to Beijing's position. What I can confirm, Mr. Ranking Member, we're absolutely committed to maintaining our one China policy and to meeting our commitments under the Taiwan Relations Act to assist Taiwan to maintain a sufficient self-defense capability. We'll meet those obligations. There hasn't been any change to our one China policy over the last 40 years, and that approach has been fundamental to maintaining peace and stability. If there's a threat to changing the status quo and to undermining that peace and stability, it's the PRC's increasingly aggressive and coercive measures taken against Taiwan.
Thank you.
Of the many things I admire about the ranking member, his chart game is at the top of the list.